everybody, and welcome back to the episode 5 of Start, Stop, and Sit. Now, over the past few weeks, we've been walking through some daily rhythms to start, something I'm encouraging you to stop, and also something I want you to sit in. If you missed any of these episodes, you can jump back on Instagram or Facebook, and soon we're actually going to have them on our website to have it accessible to you. But today, I'm going to walk through something I want you to start, something I want you to stop, and something I want you to sit in. And I'm actually going to give you all three of those up front, and then we'll walk back through what they look like a little bit later. Now, today I want to encourage you to start a daily rhythm of encouragement, like encouraging other people. I want you to stop finding your worth in things other than Jesus. And lastly, I want you to sit in solitude and worship. Not just sitting in silence, not just sitting in solitude, but sitting in solitude and worship. So, what do I mean when it comes to starting a rhythm of daily encouragement? This means encouraging people besides just yourself and the people just in your household. Now, please encourage them as well, but this is what I like to call see something, say something. Now, many of you have heard that when it comes to abuse or to crime or something like that. If you see something, you need to say something. Well, that works with encouragement as well. And especially in the midst of this COVID pandemic, this is a perfect time to spend a little extra time to encourage other people. This could be as simple as a text. It could be as simple as a phone call. Pastor Kevin McKee shared an article with me this past week where the New York Times says Verizon Wireless has over 800 million cell phone calls made a day. Now's a good time to make those phone calls be used for encouragement. So you can text, you can phone call, you can shoot a little quick video. I love to do that for some of my family and my friends, but I really want to encourage you to kind of move into the handwritten note world. Now, I know that's kind of weird. I know you're probably thinking, who in the world writes notes anymore? It takes a little bit extra time, but it is so incredibly special. Every note that anyone writes me, I keep. And sometimes I'll remember to read through them, and sometimes I'll just forget where they are and I find them eventually. But they really do mean something, taking that extra time. Now, I know your hand might cramp up. I know your handwriting might not be great. I know you probably don't even realize where you can buy stamps anymore. You can order them online, by the way. But take the time to encourage someone this week, preferably with a handwritten note. Now, for me, this doesn't come naturally. I'm not a natural encourager, so I have to intentionally do this. And some of you might be the exact same way, but some of you might just come naturally. Whatever it takes, make sure you encourage someone this week, because right now, this could go further and make a bigger difference than we could ever even imagine. So start a daily rhythm of encouragement. Next, I want you to stop finding your worth in things other than Jesus. Now, I know that's kind of broad and kind of vague, so I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Many of us find our worth in our effort to keep up with the Joneses, like making sure we have the right house and the right car, and we are putting off the right persona. We don't need to find our worth in that, because that will always leave us coming back empty. Some of us try to find our worth and get upset when we do what's called the comparison trap on social media. We compare the reality of our life to the highlight reel of other people's life. We think, man, they've got it going on, they got all this straight, and eventually we realize we can't measure up in that way, but that's not where we're called to find our worth. Or maybe you're like me, especially now that all of our church stuff is online and can be counted for views and likes and engagement. I've been finding my worth lately in how many people watch our Sunday services, how many people watch videos like this. And I realize no matter how many people engage and watch, it will never be enough to give me the worth that I feel like I need, because we're not meant to find our worth in anything other than Jesus. And sometimes we try to find it in what we do, but I want to encourage you here. Guys, God cares more about who we are than what we do. In other words, He cares more about our who than our do. That's why 1 Corinthians 6:20 says that we were bought with a price. Jesus saw us worthy enough to come to live a perfect life and to die on the cross so that we might know Him. That is who we are in Him. That's where our worth is to be found. So remember, God cares more about your who than what you do. And actually, we can't do the right do unless we become the right who. That's where our worth is found, is in Jesus. And lastly, I want to encourage you to sit. And like I said earlier, I want you to sit in solitude and worship. Now, for some of you, that might be very hard, not because you don't want to get along, but you're in a house a stay-at-home order during a pandemic and you have 15 kids yelling, "Mom, Mom, 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 Mom." I know it might be very difficult to get alone and to find some solitude, but do whatever it takes. A few episodes ago, I encouraged you to go outside and maybe you just lock yourself in the bathroom. Do whatever it takes to get alone, but you're not getting alone just for getting alone's sake. You're getting alone so you can be in solitude, but also intentionally worship Jesus. And what this might look like, it might be grabbing your cell phone, putting it on Do Not Disturb, grabbing some headphones, some AirPods if you're hip, and then jumping on Spotify and listening to some worship music to kind of recalibrate and recenter your heart. If you struggle with what I mentioned in the stop part of finding your worth in things other than Jesus, maybe your first song is Who You Say I Am by Hillsong Worship. For some of you, it might just be sitting in silence and opening the Word and reading Scripture and allowing that to recenter and refocus your heart on God and ultimately recalibrating your life on who He is. And I want you to hear me really clearly here. This is something that is very, very intentional. This does not come naturally to all of us. We don't naturally worship things other than ourselves and something we feel like we can get things out of. This is simply putting our focus on who God is and allowing it to drive us to worship. We're not praying and asking Him to do things. We're not learning things so we can teach a Devo. We're not preparing a Bible study lesson. We are just sitting in solitude and allowing Him to show up and us bow our knee before Him. So that's what I encourage you to do this week. I want you to start a regular rhythm of encouragement. Again, I'm encouraging you to start encouragement. I want you to stop finding your worth in things other than Jesus because He deemed you necessary to come and to die on the cross. And lastly, I want you to sit in solitude and worship Him for who He truly is. We love you guys. We'll see you next week.